Hello recap lovers. Welcome to today's recap. Jake Sully, a disabled war veteran, lives a monotonous life in the United States. He spends his days regretting his life choices, getting into bar fights, and reminiscing about his past glory days. However, his life is about to take a dramatic turn. One day, officials approach Jake and inform him of his twin brother Tom's murder. Devastated by the news, Jake is offered a job to complete his brother's unfinished work. Tom was planning to investigate Pandora, a newly discovered planet that supposedly harbors life similar to Earth. Tempted by the promise of a substantial payment, Jake agrees without hesitation. He undergoes 6 years of cryosleep to prepare for the mission. Upon awakening, he finds himself on a shuttle to Pandora, accompanied by other passengers. Jake was selected for the mission due to his genetic match with his brother. Upon landing on Pandora, the crew is briefed by Colonel Miles Quaritch about the planet's native inhabitants, the Na'vi. They are warned about the toxic atmosphere, requiring them to wear full-face respirators to survive. Exposure to the air for just 20 seconds can be lethal within 4 minutes. Jake visits a research facility and meets biologist Norm Spellman, who introduces him to his own genetically engineered Na'vi avatar. By connecting with the avatar, Jake can blend in with the Na'vi and navigate Pandora. While exploring the facility, Jake encounters Dr. Grace Augustin, the lead scientist, who initially dismisses him. She argues that Jake, lacking working legs and scientific expertise, is useless. However, Parker Selfridge, a representative of the Resources Development Administration, insists that Jake's genetic similarity to his brother is crucial for operating the Avatar program. Jake and Norm connect with their avatars in the lab, and Jake discovers newfound mobility and the ability to walk. Ignoring medical advice, he explores the recreation area where other avatars engage in activities. When his avatar sleeps, Jake reverts to his human form. He engages in a conversation with Colonel Miles Quaritch, who reveals Pandora's true purpose. The planet contains a rare and valuable mineral worth billions on Earth. The most significant deposits are located in the Na'vi's territory. Jake is tasked with convincing the Na'vi to relocate within 3 months, or the military will resort to wiping out the entire race. Jake begins his mission by exploring Pandora alongside Grace, Norm, and others. They collect samples and study the flora. However, Jake gets separated from the group and is chased by a dangerous predator, narrowly escaping by diving into a waterfall. Alone and weaponless, he fashions a spear and encounters Neytiri, a female Na'vi, observing him. She initially intends to shoot him with an arrow, but stops when a mysterious glowing entity lands on her bow. As a pack of viper wolves attacks Jake, Neytiri intervenes and drives them away. She instructs him to return to his place, but Jake insists on following her and requests to learn survival skills. After some resistance, Neytiri is impressed by the glowing entities surrounding Jake and takes him to her home, Omatakayan. But the Na'vi people are initially hostile towards Jake. Neytiri brings him to her parents, the king and queen of the tribe. Jake explains his desire to learn about their culture and becomes Neytiri's student. The queen confirms his pure spirit and instructs Neytiri to assist him. Jake falls asleep in his avatar form while his human self wakes up in the lab. He shares his experiences through video logs. He describes his training with Neytiri and their growing bond. One day, Neytiri asks Jake to choose a scound, a creature for him to ride. Reluctantly, he selects one and learns to control it. Jake informs the Colonel and Parker about the vast deposits of unobtainium beneath the Navy's Hama tree. The Colonel sees an opportunity to destroy the tree, but Jake insists on attempting to negotiate with the Na'vi. Grace, however, discovers that Jake is being manipulated and relocates him to the Hallelujah Mountains, where she conducts her research. Jake and Neytiri, while flying on their scouts, are pursued by a Toruk, a flying monster that despises anything airborne. They manage to escape to the Hamadtree, where Neytiri shares the story of her great-grandfather and the Toruk's significance. Over time, the Na'vi tribe begins accepting Jake as one of their own, and they honor him in a ceremony. Neytiri takes him to a place of prayer where they establish a spiritual connection with a tree using their hair. Neytiri informs Jake that he may choose a woman as his wife. After considering it, Jake proposes to Neytiri, and she accepts. They spend the night together under the tree, and Jake awakens in the lab. In the morning, the base commander reminds Jake of his mission's time limit, and he continues recording his experiences through video logs. Jake shares his progress in bonding with Neytiri and the training they undergo. As the 3-month deadline approaches, Jake informs the Colonel and Parker about the Hamadtree and the presence of unobtainium beneath it. The Colonel plans to invade the Hamadtree and drive out the Navy using gas bombs. Jake requests permission to negotiate with the Na'vi before the attack. He reconnects with the Na'vi, revealing his true identity and pleading with them to leave. However, Neytiri and the other Na'vi feel betrayed, and they take Jake and Grace hostage. The Na'vi prepare to fight the humans, while Jake and Grace attempt to dissuade them. Amidst the turmoil, Jake and Grace's avatars lose connection with their human forms when the Colonel abruptly severs the link. Grace confronts the military commanders, revealing that the Na'vi have a neural network connecting all of Pandora's trees, surpassing the complexity of the human brain. She states that the Navy will never abandon their home, the Hamadtree. The Colonel orders an invasion of the Hamadtree, intending to use gas bombs. Realizing the imminent danger, Jake pleads with Parker to allow him to convince the Na'vi to leave. The Na'vi prepare for battle against the invading humans. Jake and Grace attempt to stop the violence. In the midst of the chaos, Grace is mortally wounded, and Jake and Grace's avatars revert to their human forms, resulting in their arrest for treason. Norm is also detained for interfering with the shutdown of the Avatar forms. The remaining Na'vi regroup at the Tree of Souls. Jake and his friends are secretly released by Trudy, a pilot from their team. They flee in her spacecraft, intending to join the Na'vi. However, the Colonel discovers their escape and shoots at their ship. The craft is damaged, and Grace is critically injured. The group reaches the floating mountains, where Jake awakens as his avatar. Knowing that the Na'vi may reject him, he makes a daring decision to summon his Skawn and embark on a mission to find the Toruk. Jake approaches the Toruk cautiously and eventually rides it to the Tree of Souls during a Na'vi ritual, astonishing everyone. Jake seeks the support of warriors sent to fight against the human army. The Na'vi unite, and Jake attempts to save Grace, enlisting the help of the Queen. Despite their efforts, Grace succumbs to her injuries. Jake's anger fuels the Na'vi's determination to drive the humans away. They gather additional Na'vi clans, totaling 2,000 warriors. The Colonel shifts his focus to the Tree of Souls and orders his troops to attack. To his surprise, the Na'vi and various creatures of Pandora emerge to defend the tree. Jake confronts the Colonel's aircraft and disables it, while Neytiri leads the charge on the ground. The Na'vi fight valiantly, and the human artillery weakens due to the Skawn's interference. Neytiri's leadership and the Na'vi's resilience lead to victory. Jake engages in a final battle with the Colonel, who attempts to kill him and Neytiri. However, Neytiri saves Jake by shooting an arrow into the Colonel's chest, killing him. Jake's avatar pod sustains significant damage, leaving him struggling to breathe. Neytiri assists him in getting his mask and cradles him while observing his human form for the first time. In the end, Jake permanently transfers his consciousness to his avatar. The film concludes with a ritual where Jake awakens as his avatar under Neytiri's watchful eye. Thanks for watching today's video. Please like and subscribe for upcoming recaps like this. See you in the next video.